WNEM TV5 News starts right now with breaking news.
And that breaking news, a shelter-in-place order continues in Shiawassee County after police say shots were fired into a Laingsburg home. Police say around 10:30 this morning, shots were fired at a home on North Church Street.
The suspect is a disabled veteran with mental health issues and is in possession of an automatic rifle.
We set up a perimeter on the house, and eventually two of the residents that also lived there came out. We contacted them, and then they had the third roommate come out. So we do know that Tom is still in the residence.
No one was injured by the gunshots. The standoff is still going on as the man inside the home is refusing to negotiate with law enforcement. The police chief added they did break out a window and give the man a phone in an attempt to communicate with him, and power was shut off to the home.
Some residents are still not able to go to their own homes because of this situation. Stay with TV5 on air and online as we continue to follow this story. And this comes just hours after police arrested this man following an hours-long shelter-in-place order mere miles away in Owasso Township. Around 9 last night, state police issued a shelter-in-place for the Woods and Fields East mobile home community, saying a gunman had barricaded himself inside a home after an assault with a weapon. When police eventually made entry, he was gone. The shelter-in-place was lifted around 12:40 this morning. MSP says Stephen Lockwood was arrested at about 7. No word yet on the charges he faces. Stay with TV5 for updates.
Taking a live look at the Four Lakes Task Force's virtual meeting happening right now. They'll be discussing the process to refill Sanford Lake, which is expected to start April 15th. The meeting will also provide construction updates on all 4 dams, bonds, and a second prepayment period for property owners within the Special Assessment District. The webinar is expected to run until 7. You can join through the hot links section of WNEM.com.
And it was a pretty nice day across mid-Michigan where we had temperatures in the 50s and plenty of sunshine. But tonight, things are already starting to cool off pretty quickly as we do have a chance to see some rain on the way for tomorrow. It does seem like our eastern zones, areas like Port Sanilac, Harbor Beach, and Port Hope have all dropped into the 30s or have been in the 30s much of the day. Areas a bit further to the west still on the warmer side, mid to upper 40s. Alma kind of leading those areas and dropping at 43. But even then, our temperatures are still 5 to 15 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday over most of the area, and our winds are fairly light. So not anticipating wind to be a big factor this evening. Wind chills should remain in check, and we're still seeing at least a little bit of sunshine between some of those cirrus clouds tonight. And depending on your location, because of those high clouds drifting in, there might be a pretty nice sunset. Your first alert pinpoint Doppler radar is dry. Your sky tracker shows the cloud cover is a little bit thicker to our south, and that's where we find the showers. Eventually, that will find its way further to the north. It's just going to take some time to do so. Expecting an arrival time a bit closer to the morning commutes tomorrow. We'll have that timeline coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Chris. Still unfolding more charges against the owner of the Bad Axe Theater, who's accused of sex crimes. The Huron County prosecutor says Mark Rolfe now faces 2 new counts of criminal sexual conduct stemming from 2 incidents with 2 victims, one from October 2018, the other from April 2023. The prosecutor adds he's also charged with witness intimidation related to an incident in August of 2025. In January, Rolfe was charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Investigators accuse him of sexually assaulting a teenager between 2006 and 2008 who worked at the theater. If Rolfe is convicted, he could face up to life in prison. He pleaded not guilty to the charges from January. The prosecutor's office says his trial starts August 25th.
A local ministry is marking a major milestone, 10 years of helping women escape trafficking and exploitation.
As TV5's Zane Omer shows us, the problem hits closer to home than many people might think.
Human trafficking happens closer to home than many may realize.
It starts out really small, like send me pictures, or, I will love you, I will take care of you. It can start in the home with family. So you may not think it's happening, but it really is happening in our neighborhoods, in our backyard.
In Genesee County, Beauty for Ashes is working to help women escape that cycle. Board member Erin McClelland says many survivors face overwhelming challenges after they escape trafficking situations.
Having those trusted individuals in their life who can, take them to church or take them to a grocery store or just listen to them and listen to their needs. Because most of the time those experiences have been altered due to the individual in their life who had that power over them and coercing them to do things they were forced to do.
Over the past decade, Beauty for Ashes has helped more than 2,000 women with meals, laundry, and recovery support as they begin rebuilding their lives.
We've come so far from being a hotel ministry with a wonderful group of women who would go out and meet those women to a robust street outreach team who goes along different areas of Genesee County, meeting women on the road, giving them hygiene products, food, lunches, pray with them.
And on Thursday, the organization is celebrating that 10-year milestone with a fundraiser. Beauty for Ashes relies entirely on donations and volunteers, and monthly community support helps keep their empowerment center open.
The center is open 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, and we want to advance that to 3 days a week. It'd be a wonderful thing if we could be open 5 days a week, but the more volunteers we have, the more we can make that vision come true.
Because for survivors, one safe place and one person who cares can change everything.
I think the biggest thing is to know that you are not alone, and there are people out here, whether it's through Beauty for Ashes, like through ministry work, through treatment centers, through mental health providers, through our shelters, who want to give you a chance, who want you to come to them for a safe place to go.
In Genesee County, Zane Omer, WNEM TV5.
If you're interested in learning more about tomorrow's fundraiser or would like to get connected with Beauty for Ashes, we'll have a link on our website, WNEM.com.
More local news, building solutions to the housing shortage. Housing Forward met for the Regional Housing Summit today. The community-based initiative covers several local counties, including Aranac, Bay, Clare, Midland, and Saginaw. Local leaders, elected officials, and developers gathered at the Midland Center for the Arts to discuss how to expand housing across the region. One way to do that, they say, is removing barriers for local builders.
Really, it comes down to the pace at which we're building and the availability of our skilled trades. So as part of that action plan, we talk about the need to grow our skilled trades here in the region. We're building at about 647 homes a year. We need to be building at about 7,783 homes per year. So we need to be building about 12 times more than we are today.
The meeting also addressed progress made over the past year, from zoning reforms to new resources and pilot projects.
Saginaw is inviting residents to their next citywide meeting. Next Wednesday, you can learn what city leaders have planned for this year's Play Dates in the Park, which introduces kids to new activities and sports. During the meeting, you can also hear a preview of this summer's Friday Night Live series. The meeting is next Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Garber Courts building on Fordney Street.
The state wants to make sure every child can read and write. The State Departments of Education and Early Childhood Learning released Every Child Reads: Next Steps Forward, a 3-part strategy. The plan aims to start early, getting families involved before kids enter a classroom, using proven science of reading methods in every Michigan classroom, and catching struggling readers early so they can get the support they need. Whitmer's budget proposal calls for $625 million. What she calls the largest one-time literacy investment in Michigan history.
A group of Republican lawmakers are trying to change concealed carry laws. A package of 5 bills introduced by Representative Joseph Fox and James DeSena would eliminate the state's requirement to get a concealed pistol license. Right now, carrying a concealed pistol without a permit is a felony in Michigan. If the bills pass, Michigan would become the 30th state to adopt so-called constitutional carry. The bills have been referred to the House Judiciary Committee. Similar proposals have been introduced in previous years, but none have become law.
Marijuana taxes are paying off for hundreds of Michigan communities, and the checks are on the way. Nearly $94 million is being distributed to more than 300 local governments and tribes across the state. Each will receive a little over $54,000 for every licensed retail store and micro business located within its jurisdiction. Local communities include Bay City, Mount Pleasant, Birch Run, and Saginaw. For a full list of communities awarded and the amount given, go to this story on WNEM.com. A new experience where you can learn about the past and the possible future of our universe.
After the break, the new immersive show at the Delta College Planetarium, combining classical music and space exploration.
Plus, spring is around the corner and the butterflies will soon be in bloom. Still ahead when the seasonal favorite flutters back into Dow Gardens. Dozens of rescued dogs and a handful of cats on the mend after being rescued from a filthy home in Flint Township.
As TV5's Zane Omer reports, court records show charges have been filed against 2 people today in connection with the case.
It's been a bit overwhelming, but we try to just focus on taking things one day at a time and just staying calm amidst the chaos.
Genesee County Animal Control giving an update on the surviving 61 dogs and 3 cats 2 weeks after they were rescued from a Flint Township home.
They're all doing pretty well. It was a one-of-a-kind situation, I guess, just with how deplorable the conditions were.
Social media specialist Hannah Peterson credits an adoption event the weekend after, resulting in the adoptions of dozens of cats and dogs already at the shelter prior to the rescue, clearing space for the surviving animals' arrival.
Things get crazy here very quickly at a moment's notice, so right now we are in a much calmer position.
Peterson says all of the animals are now at rescues, where they are getting healthier and healing.
Thankfully, we actually had rescues reach out from all over the state, which has been so incredible.
Despite the living conditions police have described as death, Peterson expects all of the animals to survive.
They're definitely fearful. They haven't really had a lot of socialization with many people, so that can make things a little bit more intimidating for dogs once they do get out of a situation and start on this pathway towards adoption. As far as medically, they will definitely be given all of those vaccinations that they need. The rescues themselves will be able to do heart rhythm tests and all kinds of medical tests just to make sure they are up to par.
Kim Shires, who told TV5 he owned the home on Elms Road, along with his wife, now facing 2 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor related to animal cruelty. Peterson says this case is also a reminder to speak up when you suspect something is wrong.
You could genuinely be the reason that an animal gets removed from a bad situation, they get rescued. You could be the reason that an animal ends up living.
We reached out to both the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office and Flint Township Police for an update on the investigation. Online court records do not show an arraignment has been set yet for Shires or his wife.
More local news, a new experience at the Delta College Planetarium will immerse your family in a celestial symphony. Premiering Friday, the show takes viewers on a musical journey from the beginning of the universe to the future of humanity. Staff say the visuals combined with classical music from composers like Beethoven will give viewers a three-dimensional journey of cosmic events. Celestial Symphony will play Friday and Saturday nights starting at 6 through April 25th.
A sure sign spring is on the horizon as Butterflies in Bloom returns to Midland's Dow Gardens. The interactive exhibit opens Friday, offering an up-close look at thousands of brightly colored butterflies from around the world. You'll be able to see the newly hatched insects feeding and flying all within the tropical environment of the Dow Gardens Conservatory. Butterflies in Bloom continues through April 19th. Reservations are required.
The founder and inventor of Amigo in Bridgeport Township has passed away. In 1968, Al Teamy created the first motorized mobility cart, the Amigo, for a family member with MS. According to the company, Teamy died yesterday while surrounded by family after a short battle with cancer. His obit called him an American dream story, saying he was a high school dropout and a kindergarten dropout before then, who grew his family business to a nationally known brand. The visitation is Friday and Saturday, followed by the funeral. For details and to read his full obituary, go to this story on WNEM.com.
A look outside tonight at our I-75 camera, our Vehicle City Harley-Davidson camera. Seems like everything is moving as you would expect to this time of night. New camera there, so looks a ton better. Can actually get some good visuals there off in the distance. And things are dry right now. Clouds are starting to move in, but we don't expect any wet weather here in the near term. First alert, pinpoint Doppler radar is all dry. And your sky tracker shows the thicker cloud coverage is still to the south. And that's where the rain is going to be, at least for the near term here, before eventually starting to move northward as we go through tonight. We are watching your low temperatures closely. Areas further to the south, a little bit less likely to drop below freezing. Areas around the Bay region and to the north may have a chance to drop below a little bit later tonight. So if rain does arrive in some of these areas before they eventually come up above freezing, well, that of course could lead to a brief period of icing. But right now, the emphasis is on brief if it happens. We did have a warmer day today, and so we may actually have to get a little bit cooler tonight to actually reach that threshold. But we do expect to come up above freezing as we go through tomorrow, upper 30s to low 40s over much of the region. Average is right around 38, so we're pretty close to that. And average highs are really starting to climb pretty quickly here as we get into the month of March. Eventually, rain arrives after midnight. Seems like it's pretty light and probably pretty scattered at first, but then as the morning goes along, we start to see it inch its way further to the north, and you can see occasionally some areas of pink that are trying to move in there as well. Some temperatures, especially in our northern counties, kind of fluctuating near that freezing mark pretty much most of the day, but I do think it will be primarily rain in some of those areas as well. We'll likely see rain continue at times through the evening before eventually things start to fizzle out as we go towards early Friday morning, but then we only get a short break and then it's right back to the action on Friday. We do have a chance for severe weather. This is our first severe weather risk in quite some time. It is a lower marginal risk. However, it's a risk nonetheless. The one thing that's working against this, it will come through at what is typically an inopportune time, which is late at night and very early into Saturday morning. So the chance is a little bit better to our west, especially in the slight risk area that's around Illinois and portions of Wisconsin, but it's still close enough for us to pay attention to, so we want you to know about that. Here's how it looks. Your hour-by-hour forecast on Saturday morning. We'll have a chance at some of that rain coming in along a cold front. It does look intense, but it does drop off a little bit as it moves off to the east and as we start losing some of that storm energy. If we do see severe weather or at least stronger storms Friday night and early Saturday, do think wind and hail are the main threats. It would be this marginal risk where you don't really necessarily have to adjust too much for that. Most storms likely won't be severe. They're typically pretty isolated and typically pretty quick. Your forecast for the next 7 days shows temperatures will be right around the 50s on Sunday. After Saturday's 60s, it seems like we'll have a chance to be on the sunnier side of things also. We'll keep that going into Monday with low 60s and then 50s by Tuesday.
Thank you, Chris. A programming note tonight. You can watch the Detroit Red Wings on our sister station, the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network. The channel numbers are right there on your screen. Antenna 5.2, Charter Spectrum 199, and Comcast Xfinity 1182. The game starts at 7 against the Vegas Golden Knights.
There's like more than 100.
They're everywhere.
It's like we live in a chicken farm.
All new tonight, a neighborhood overrun by chickens. It's tonight's can't miss moment on the news at 10 on the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network.
Then at 11, State House Republicans push to end licensing for concealed carry. What a mid-Michigan gun seller has to say about that proposal. Also at 11, a state trooper in hot pursuit of a speeding SUV whose driver is not trying to get away. The reason, he's punching the pedal. And if you want to hear more about the weather with Chris, head on over to our digital live stream at 9 o'clock tonight. You can join that stream at WNEM.com, on the TV5 YouTube and Facebook pages, on our Roku and Fire Stick channels, and on the TV5 News app. Thanks for watching WNEM Evening Extra. Keep up with us as the news breaks online, on our app, or on social media. We'll see you on TV5 at 11.